Professor of Wington Institute of Information Technology, Dubai. Today I will start Unit 4. In Unit 4, I will explain moment distribution and Hardy's method. In structural analysis course, this is one of the most important chapter where you will be able to learn what are the moments distributed in different ratio from one joint to another, and when the members are connected at intersection, and if you apply the moment at the intersection, in which ratio the moment gets distributed in different member, we will be able to learn. And after that we will analyze a typical beam order frame with given load. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, structural analysis is a vast subject. It is a multi-dimensional subject. It has a classification like it is linear, it may be non-linear analysis. So structural analysis can be classified into two categories. One is linear analysis, second one is non-linear analysis, right? In linear category, further we can classify into two categories. One is static analysis, another is dynamic analysis. In non-linear category, it can also be classified into two categories. First one is static analysis, second one is dynamic analysis. Right? So this is static linear analysis, this is dynamic linear analysis, this is static non-linear analysis, this is dynamic non-linear analysis. In this class, we will only perform the static linear analysis. That means when a member is subjected to load or any system of load, the member will undergo stress, and the stress will be up to the proportion limit, and it won't go beyond the proportion limit. Within that limit, we will analyze those frames, right? Now, there are many methods are available to analyze a structure. To analyze a structure, we can classify the methods into two categories. One is force method, another is displacement method. First one is methods can be classified into two categories. One is force method, second one is displacement method. Okay. Force method, what are the methods are available? So there are two types of methods of analysis are available while we start to analyze a statically determinate or indeterminate structure. There are two types of methods are available. First one is force method, second one is displacement method, right? In the year 1930, Professor Hardy Cross derived the moment distribution method, which is the most useful method for analysis of structure. So in force method, there are four methods are available. First one is method of consistent deformation, second one is method of theorem of least work, third one is column analogy method, and fourth one is flexibility matrix method. Okay. In displacement method, slope displacement method, moment distribution method, Kani's method and stiffness matrix method. So we will use only moment distribution method in this chapter. So let's understand the concept behind the moment distribution method. While I calculate the moment distribution in numerical problem, this concept will be very important. So please understand the concept before solving a real time problem. First, I make you understand what is carryover moment. One by one, I will make you understand what are the background theory of moment distribution method. Then I will take a ideal example. Okay. So first of all, I will calculate the carryover moment COM. Right. Case 1. When the far end of the beam is fixed. Suppose this is a beam. Its far end is fixed end. So if you apply a moment M at this joint, what will be the carryover moment to the far end? Okay. There are many types of beams are available with different types of support condition. So if the far end is fixed end, so what will be the carryover of applied moment M? Here I have applied M moment at B joint. What will be the carryover at joint A? That is MA. Okay. So let's assume that is MA. The span of the beam is L, right? Now I will split it into two categories. One is moment portion, another is reaction. So if you apply a M moment at B joint point, so you will have two reactive components. One is moment M, another is reaction RB. Here RB I have taken downward direction. Because just think here, I am applying a moment at B point which is anti-clockwise direction. To be in equilibrium condition, a moment should be, a reaction should be applied in this way so that this anti-clockwise moment will be counteract and this reactive moment should be clockwise. Okay. So that this moment can be counteracted. Again I am telling, if I apply a moment M at this point, to counteract this moment, I have to put a downward direction. That force will induce a moment which is clockwise, and this moment and this moment will be counteracted to each other. That's why RB should be in downward direction, right? So due to applied moment M, what will be the deflection at this point? Due to the applied moment M, the deflection will be ml square by EI, 2EI, right? Which will be in upward direction displacement at B point, right? And due to the RB reaction force which is acting downward direction, the displacement will be RB in Q by 3EI, which will be downward direction. Now the point is, this is prop cantilever. At prop end, there will be no vertical deformation or vertical displacement. So the vertical displacement due to moment, applied moment M, net, the vertical displacement will be 0. So upward vertical displacement and downward vertical displacement will be counteracted to each other, and the resultant displacement will be 0. So I can write RB L cube by 3EI minus ml square by 2EI equals to 0. That means this and this will be equal. So from this equation, I can derive RB equals to 3 by 2 M by L, right? Now, if I consider the sum of moment will be 0 in this beam, that means equilibrium condition of moment, I can write the sum of all the moments will be 0. So what are the moments are acting? You can see this vertical force is trying to rotate this beam in clockwise direction. This applied moment is trying to rotate this beam in anti-clockwise direction, and this carryover moment is trying to rotate this beam in anti-clockwise direction. So we will consider these three moments. So this is trying to rotate in clockwise direction, so positive RB into the distance is L. It is trying to rotate in anti-clockwise direction, so negative M. This carryover moment is trying to rotate this beam in anti-clockwise direction, so negative M. will be equal to 0, right? What is the value of Rv? I have determined 3 by 2 m by L, 3 by 2 m by L, and L is L. So minus m equals to ma. So L will be cancelled. So I get ma equals to half of m. So what is the carryover moment? Carryover moment equals to half of m. That means in case of the joint which is situated far end, whose far end is fixed, if I apply a moment m at B joint, the carryover moment to the further end which is fixed end will be half of applied moment. In other words, if I apply a moment at the joint M, if the further end is fixed, the carryover moment will be half of the applied moment. Okay? So come to the case 2. If the far end is hinged in this beam, if I apply the moment M at B point, and if the far end is hinged point, what will be the carryover? Let's assume the carryover moment is ma. Okay? So as this is the hinged joint, so the carryover will be 0. No moment will be taken by this support, right? Come to third case. If the beam is cantilever beam, okay? So if I apply a moment at this free end M, what will be the carryover? Ma will be the carryover to the further far end. So in this case, I can write total sum of all the moments will be 0 in this beam. So I can write m sum of m equals to 0. Okay. So what are the moments is working in this beam? The moment is applied which is trying to rotate, which is anti-clockwise. So this is minus m. This moment was also negative anti-clockwise. This moment is also anti-clockwise. So this is minus of ma equals to 0. That means m plus ma equals to 0. That means ma equals to minus of m. Right? That means if you apply a moment m at the free end of the cantilever beam, the same magnitude of moment will be carried over to the far end and the direction will be just opposite. The magnitude will be same but the direction will be opposite. So the carryover moment in case of cantilever beam will be negative of the applied moment. Right? So if you apply m moment at the free end of the cantilever, the carryover will be minus m. Okay? So let's start the carryover factor. Okay? Let's start the carryover factor COF. COF means the carryover moment divided by applied moment. Carryover factor will be used in the calculation of moment distribution method. So how we will calculate the carryover factor, you will learn here. Suppose this is a beam, its one end is hinge support and further far end is fixed end. Okay, if the fixed end is there, so what will be the carryover? In the previous lecture I told you, in case of fixed support, further if the fixed support is there in further support, so the carryover moment will be 50% of the applied moment. So if I apply 100 kN at this joint, so 50%, that means 50 kN will be carried over in the far end, that is fixed support. So carryover factor will be equals to carryover moment divided by applied moment, that is half in both directions. Now case 1, for far end is fixed. If the far end is fixed, like this example, if the far end is fixed, if I apply m moment at joint B and the far end is fixed support, so the carryover factor will be how much? Carryover factor equals to carryover moment divided by applied moment. What is the carryover moment for fixed support? The carryover moment is half of m, that is half of applied moment, and applied moment is m. So half of m divided by m, so equals to m half. So carryover factor for far fixed end, for far end is fixed. In case of far end is fixed, carryover factor will be half. Okay. Case 2, for far end is hinged. This is the point where I am applying the moment M. If the far end is hinge support, so the carryover moment will be 0 because the hinge support will not take any further moment. So carryover factor will be carryover moment, that is 0, divided by applied moment M. So carryover factor will be 0. Now this is case 3. Case 3 is cantilever support. This is a cantilever beam. In the cantilever beam, if you apply M moment at the free end, the carryover will be how much? The total moment will be carried out to the fixed support and it will be negative. Okay. In the bending moment diagram, you have seen that the cantilever beam, if you apply the M moment at the free end, the total moment will be carried out to the fixed end. So the total moment M will be carried over to the fixed end, and this will be the bending moment diagram if you apply the M moment at free end. So carryover will be M, the applied moment, but the direction will be opposite. So carryover MA equals to minus of M. So what will be the carryover factor? Carryover moment divided by applied moment. So the carryover factor will be -1, right? In case of internal hinge cantilever beam, this is a cantilever beam and internal hinge is provided. So what will be the carryover if you apply a M moment at the free end? What will be the carryover to the support A where far end is fixed? The carryover will be 0 because of this hinge, the moment cannot be transferred to the fixed end. So due to the hinge, internal hinge, the moment will become 0 at this point, and the bending moment diagram like this. Okay, this is M. So the carryover in case of internal hinge in cantilever, the carryover moment will be 0. So carryover factor will be carryover moment divided by M. So 0 by M equals to 0. So in case of internal hinge cantilever beam, the carryover factor will be 0. Case 5, internal hinge in prop cantilever. There is a prop cantilever is here. This is a prop of the cantilever, prop support. This is the internal hinge is provided, and this is A distance, this is B distance. Now if we apply the M moment at point B, what will be the carryover? Let's assume the carryover moment is MA. Okay. Now I will break this into two parts. A to C one part and C to B another part. Okay. Now if you apply the moment M at B point, the reaction will be RB in downward direction. To apply the moment in anti-clockwise direction, to counteract this anti-clockwise moment, you have to apply some downward force. That downward force will make a clockwise moment that will counteract this M. So this RB should be in downward direction. So if in this portion RB is their downward direction, so at C point same amount of reaction but in opposite direction should be there, that is RB in upward direction. If at C point RB is working in upward direction, so here also due to this hinge point, that's the same shear force will be acting in downward direction. So this is the free body diagram of this cantilever beam, prop cantilever beam. Okay. Now the moment at C point will be 0 because this is a internal hinge. So the bending moment will be 0 at this hinge point. So sum of MC will be 0. Now if you take the moment, I can write RB into B. Consider this portion, CB portion. This is RB into B. I am taking the bending moment about C point. RB is working downward direction and this moment will be in clockwise direction. So positive RB into B, force into distance, minus M. Why M is minus? Because it is anti-clockwise. So minus M will be 0. So what are the moments are working? RB is trying to rotate this beam in clockwise direction and M is trying to rotate this beam anti-clockwise direction. So RB into B equals to M. So RB equals to M by B. Now come to this part. In this part, you can consider the sum of moment to be 0. So RB into this length minus MA. MA is anti-clockwise direction and RB and the moment which is induced by the RB, this is clockwise direction. So positive RB into A minus MA will be equals to 0 because of the beam is in equilibrium condition. So RB value is M by B. Put M by B into A minus MA. So RB into A equals to MA. So MA equals to A by B into M. So in case of internal hinge in prop cantilever beam, if you apply M moment at this prop end, the carryover moment will be A by B into M. In this ratio, the carryover moment will be transferred to the far end, that is fixed end. So the carryover factor will be how much? Carryover moment divided by applied moment. Carryover moment is A by B into M. Applied moment is M. So M cancel. So you have carryover factor equals to A by B. So let's start the stiffness. Now first of all the question is what is stiffness? You have seen the formula F equals to K delta or moment M equals to K theta. Fundamentally we can explain the stiffness in this way that the force required for unit deformation is called stiffness, or the moment required for unit rotation is called stiffness. In this expression you can see F equals to K delta, where F is the applied force, K is the stiffness of the member and delta is the deformation due to the applied force. So if I say this is unit deformation, so what will be F? F equals to K. So for unit deformation, stiffness equals to applied force. If deformation is 1, so the stiffness equals to applied force. In this case, if the rotation is 1, so the stiffness equals to applied moment. If the rotation becomes 1, the stiffness will be equals to applied moment. That means for unit deformation, the required force is called stiffness. For unit rotation, the required amount of moment is called stiffness. So this is linear and this is rotational. Okay. So let's calculate what will be the stiffness if you apply a moment at a joint whose far end is fixed end. Okay. This is case number 1. You are applying a moment at B joint. The length of the beam is L, flexural rigidity is EI, and the far end is fixed end. What will be the carryover moment? MA. Now I split this beam into two parts. One is moment part, another is reaction part. As this is a prop cantilever, so due to the moment M, due to the applied moment M, the deformation at B support will be ml square by 2ei, which is upward. And as I am applying M moment, the reaction will be in downward direction, as I told you in earlier class. So due to the applied moment, this reaction is coming. As this reaction is coming, due to this reaction, downward directional reaction, the downward displacement will be R L cube by 3ei, which is downward, and this displacement is upward. As this is prop cantilever, B end cannot move either upward or downward direction. So net vertical displacement will be 0. So this vertical displacement and this vertical displacement will be equal. So I can write delta B equals to delta B dash. So ml square by 2ei equals to RB L cube by 3ei. So from this equation I can derive RB equals to 3 by 2 M by L. Right? Now Due to the applied moment M, here I have applied the moment M. What will be the rotation at B support? The rotation at B support will be theta equals to ml by ei. Okay. Now just think, if you consider this theta equals to 1, here due to the applied moment M, the rotation at joint B is theta B. Okay. If the theta B becomes unit, so the applied moment can be called stiffness as per the definition of stiffness. So we can say for unit rotation, the required moment is called stiffness. Come to this point, theta B equals to ml by ei due to the applied moment M. If you apply in a cantilever beam, if you apply the moment in the free end of a cantilever beam, the slope or the rotation at the free end will be ml by ei, and if you apply the vertical force at the free end, the slope at B will be theta B equals to RB L square by 2ei. This is the standard formula. So what will be the net rotation at B point? Just see here, this moment is trying to rotate this beam in anti-clockwise direction, and this reaction is trying to rotate this beam in clockwise direction. So they will be in different direction. So I can write net rotation at B support will be ml by ei minus RB L square by 2ei. Okay. So after calculation, you put the value of RB, that is 3 by 2 m by L. I put it here. So you will get theta B equals to 1 by 4 ml by ei. Okay. This is the expression is coming theta B. Okay. Due to the applied moment M at B point. So theta B equals to 1 upon 4 ml by ei. So m equals to, I can write 4 ei by L into theta B. Okay. Now we compare this equation with m equals to k theta. M, this is theta, so this is m. So if you consider this is unit rotation, so I can write this is stiffness. It is clear? I told you for unit rotation the required moment is called stiffness. So for unit rotation the required moment will be stiffness. So stiffness K equals to, I can write 4 ei by L. This is the ultimate expression for prop cantilever. If you apply a moment at the free end, and as the far end is fixed, the stiffness of this member will be 4 ei by L. Okay. Come to the case 2. For far end is hinged, right? Now, if the far end is hinged, you are applying a moment M at point B. If the far end is hinged, the stiffness of this member will be 3 ei by L. After derivation, the derivation is not in your syllabus, so the derivation is not required. So you can remember, if the far end is fixed, so the stiffness will be 3 ei by L. Now case 3, if the far end is free, this is far end, if the far end is free and this is hinged joint, if you apply M moment, what will be the stiffness? You can see this is a unstable structure. In this unstable structure, this member will fall down at any time. Before applying moment, after applying moment, at any time, anywhere, this member will fall down. Okay, so no need to apply any moment. So this is the unstable structure. The rotation is infinite. The rotation is infinite. So as the rotation is infinite, so stiffness is 0. Okay. Now come to the relative stiffness. What is relative stiffness? Relative stiffness can be calculated as K by 4E. Okay. In the other word, the ratio of stiffness actual member divided by total stiffness is called relative stiffness. Okay. So let's start case 1. For far end is fixed. This is a beam, prop cantilever beam. If its far end is fixed and you are applying a end moment at B point, what will be the stiffness? In the earlier slide I have explained, the stiffness will be 4EI by L. As I have considered the unit rotation, so for unit rotation the required moment will be equal to stiffness. So the stiffness will be K equals to 4EI by L. For far end is fixed, so stiffness K equals to 4EI by L. Now stiffness, relative stiffness can be calculated as K by 4E. So RS equals to, this is K, 4EI by L, and this is 4E. So you can calculate RS equals to I by L. So for far end is fixed, relative stiffness R equals to I by L, right? Now come to second case. For far end is hinged. If the far end is hinged, so what will be the relative stiffness? The actual stiffness will be 3EI by L. You have calculated in the earlier slide. So K equals to 3EI by L. So relative stiffness for K by 4EI. So I can write 4EI by L divided by 4E equals to 3EI by 3 by 4 into I by L. So relative stiffness in case of far end is hinged, the relative stiffness will be 3 by 4 into I by L. Case 3, if the far end is free, then this is unstable structure. So no need to apply any moment at any time, at any condition. The rotation is infinite. As the rotation is infinite, so we know K equals to m by theta, okay, or m equals to k theta. So K equals to m by theta. F as theta tends to infinite, so K equals to 0, right? So K equals to 0, that means RS, that means relative stiffness 0 by 4E 0. So relative stiffness equals to 0 in case of far end is free. So let's solve a numerical problem. Relative stiffness we have to find out using this formula K by 4E. Here continuous beam is given. This is fixed end, hinge support, and this is also hinge support. The length of this member AB is 4 meter, BC is 3 meter. Okay. So how do we calculate the relative stiffness and the individual member stiffness? You see here, this is joint B we will consider. Intermediate joint first we will consider. Then what is the related member with this joint B? The member is BA and BC. So first we will consider the intermediate joint. With this intermediate joint, how many members is connected? BA member is there, I wrote it here. BC members is here, I wrote it here. Okay. Now what is the stiffness of BA member? Consider this member. This is fixed and this is hinged. So I can draw it. This is fixed and this is hinged. Okay. And this member is, both the support are hinged. So both the end is hinge support. This is A, this is B, this is B, this is C. Right. So if this is the configuration of the beam, the stiffness will be 4EI by L. As the far end is fixed, so stiffness will be 4EI by L. L value is how much? 4 meter. So right here 4 meter. So the stiffness will be EI. In case of BC, as the far end, yeah, this is the joint. As the far end is hinge support, so the stiffness will be 3EI by L. So 3EI by L is 3 meter. So 3 is cancelled. Here 4 cancelled. 3 cancelled. So you get stiffness equals to EI. So in both the case, you calculate stiffness equals to EI. Okay. Now relative stiffness equals to I by L in case of far end is fixed. If the far end is, I am considering this joint. If the far end is fixed, so the relative stiffness will be I by L. And if the far end is hinged, the relative stiffness will be 3 by 4 I by L. Okay. Why it is happening? Relative stiffness is here is more and the relative stiffness is here is less, because if you consider the far end is fixed, the stiffness will be more, the capacity of the member will be more, and if the far end is hinged, the stiffness or the capacity to resist the deformation will be less. So this is 75% of I by L and this is 100% of I by L. The ratio of moment of inertia to the length is called relative stiffness. Either you can use this I by L, 3/4 of I by L, or you can use K by 4E. Okay? In all cases, you can use this expression. Otherwise, you can use this I by L in case of R is fixed and 3/4 of I by L in case of R is hinged support. Okay? So, you have found out I by L as the far end is fixed. So, relative stiffness will be I by L and L is 4 meters. So, I by 4 is the relative stiffness of BA. Now, come to BC. As the far end is hinged, so I can calculate the relative stiffness as 3/4 of I by L. So A value is 3 meters, so I can write 3 meters. So 3/4 into I by 3, so I get I by 4. If you use this expression, also you will get I by 4 and I by 3. Just check it here. The stiffness is EI. So EI by 4E. So I get I by 4. I by 4. In case here, this is also stiffness EI. So if I write EI, also I get I by 4. So this is and this will give the same as this equation. Okay, this formula. So you can either you choose this equation or you choose this formula. Okay. Now cross check must be done. What is the total relative stiffness? Total relative stiffness equals to I by 4 plus I by 4 equals to I by 2 is the total relative stiffness. Now cross check, you can cross check using this equation what is the value is coming, whether it is matching or not. This equation is matching, giving the same value of this equation. You can cross check it. The total stiffness is how much? I by EI plus EI. So total stiffness is 2 EI and relative stiffness equals to total stiffness divided by 4E. So total stiffness is 2EI divided by 4E equals to I by 2. So the total relative stiffness equals to I by 2 as it is matching with this I by 2. So you can follow either this expression or this expression. Okay. So let's start distribution factor. Okay. Distribution factor can be denoted as DF. It can be defined as the ratio of relative stiffness of a member at a joint divided by total relative stiffness at that joint. Otherwise, the stiffness of a member at a joint divided by total stiffness at a member at that joint. Either you consider stiffness by total stiffness or you consider relative stiffness by total relative stiffness. Better you consider relative stiffness by total relative stiffness. So, once you are going to solve a problem, always follow a single principle. Don't mess with the alternative principle. Okay. So always you try to remember distribution factor is the ratio of relative stiffness of a member at a joint divided by total relative stiffness at that joint. Suppose this is a intersection. This is a beam intersection. If I see like this on the horizontal plane, it is set like that. Okay. So this is fixed support, this is fixed, this is hinge and this is free. And the length of the beam are L1, L2, L3, L4. This is intersection O. Okay. Now I will find out the distribution factor of each member. Okay. So let's first find out what is the stiffness of each individual member, like AO, BO, OC, OD. So what is the stiffness of OA? The stiffness at joint O equals to, as this is the far end is fixed, so stiffness will be 4EI by L1. As the far end is fixed, the stiffness of OB will be 4EI by L2. As the far end is hinged, so stiffness of OC will be 3EI by L3. As the far end is free, so no stiffness will be there. So the stiffness of KOD will be 0. Okay. Let's assume 4EI by L1 equals to K1, and this is K2, this is K3, and this is K4. Right? For simplification. So the total stiffness will be how much? Sum of K means total stiffness will be this plus this plus this plus this. So I wrote 4EI by L1 plus 4EI by L2 plus 3EI by L3 plus 0. Okay. So the distribution factor will be how much? The particular member stiffness by total stiffness. So what is the particular member stiffness? 4EI by L1, that is K1, divided by total stiffness. So you can write K1 by sum of K. That means 4EI by L1 divided by sum of K. In case of OB, 4EI by L2 divided by sum of K. In case of OC, 3EI by L3 by sum of K, and this is 0, or this is 0 by sum of K. You can write. So this is the individual distribution factor of individual member. So what is the total distribution factor? This distribution factor plus this plus this plus this. The sum of all the distribution factor of each member will be the total distribution factor. You always keep it, remember that the total distribution factor will be always 1. If it does not 1, then there is some mistake. You can cross check and you can rectify your calculation, and always it must be 1. Okay. Now the question is that what the distribution factor tells us. What is the significance of this distribution factor? Let's solve a numerical problem. Here one beam intersection is given here. The EI is constant, and it is asked that what will be the distribution factor, carryover moment, stiffness of each individual member. As I have applied a moment 100 kN at the intersection point, that is O point, and distribution factor is given. The distribution factor of this member is 0.4, this member is 0.3, this member is 0.3. Now the question is, what the distribution factor tells us? The distribution factor tells us in which proportion the applied bending moment will be transferred to the particular member. As if you apply a moment at this intersection, then all the members will not take the same moment, or this 100 kN moment will not be distributed in same proportion, because the support condition is different. This is fixed support, this is hinge support, and this is free hinge. So the distribution will be definitely different. As the fixed end far end is fixed, so the capacity of this member will be more. As the far end is hinged, in case of OB and OC, the capacity of this beam is less. That means the stiffness is less. Therefore, the distribution factor will be less. So, depending upon their capacity, depending upon their stiffness, the distribution factor comes out, and with the proportion of distribution factor, the moment will be distributed according to their. So, according to the distribution factor, the moment will be distributed in the individual member. So, the distribution factor 0.4 of OA, that means the 40% of 100 kN moment will be transferred to this beam, from this joint to this beam. 30% of 100 kN moment will be transferred from this joint to this beam, and remaining 30% of the 100 kN moment will be transferred from the joint to this beam. As this is free end, so this is unstable, so it won't take any moment, right? So no moment will be transferred to the beam OD. So the 100 kN will be transferred to this beam, which is 40 kN, because the distribution factor is 0.4. So 0.4 into 100, 40 kN will be transferred from this joint to this beam. As the distribution factor of OB is 0.3 and OC is 0.3, so 30% of 100 kN will be transferred to the beam OB and also to the beam OC, right? So this is total 100 kilonewton moment. In this way it will be distributed to the individual member. So in this way distribution factor is very important in our particular problem. So what is the stiffness of this member? As the far end is fixed, so stiffness will be 4EI by L. Far end is hinge, so stiffness will be 3EI by L. And here also hinge support 3EI by L. And this is free end, so this is the stiffness will be 0. And no moment will be transferred to this beam. Now, using the distribution factor, I have transferred the applied moment to the particular member. Now, the question is, what is the carryover moment? Using the carryover factor, I can calculate the carryover moment to the individual member. Now, I have two factors. One is distribution factor, one is carryover factor. So, don't confuse between these factors. Using the distribution factor, I can calculate the applied moment which is transferred from the joint to the individual member, that is 40% is 40 kilonewton, here is 30 kilonewton, that is 0.4 of 100 is 40 kilonewton, will be transferred to this member. 30 kilonewton meter will be transferred to this member and 30 kilonewton meter will be transferred to this member. Now this is the applied 40 kilonewton. Now what will be the carryover moment? The carryover moment will be half of this moment, because as this is fixed end, so in case of fixed end, the carryover factor is half, okay? For far end is fixed, okay? So as the far end is fixed, the carryover factor will be half. So half of 40 kilonewton will be 20 kilonewton. So the carryover moment will be 20 kilonewton. This is carryover moment 20 kilonewton, and the far end is hinge. So the carryover moment will be 0. This is carryover moment will be 0, and this is hinge support. So carryover moment will be 0. So I have calculated the applied moment distributed to the individual member using distribution factor. After distributing the moment to individual member, I have calculated the carryover moment, and this is the scenario. In this way, you can calculate the distribution factor, carryover moment, stiffness of individual member, total stiffness, distribution factor. So, and after all, total distribution factor will be always 1. So, this is the cross check. In this way, you can cross check your calculation, whether your calculation is right or wrong. You can cross check it. So, in this way, we can calculate the distribution factor, carryover moment, carryover factor, stiffness of individual member, total stiffness, etc. So, I hope today's class is enjoyable and you have understood all the concept.